So let's watch this video. If Mujin has like the summary of it. I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw it on Twitter the other day. But anyway, yeah.
Another day, another Genshin Impact boycott, this time with over 100,000 signatures on a change.org petition with the name Stop Cultural Appropriation and Whitewashing in MiHoYo Games. MiHoYo, otherwise known as Hoyoverse, who is Genshin Impact's developer. This isn't the
How about you make your stream about your own research instead of leeching from Mujin? Why?
the first time that Genshin Impact is accused by its community, mostly on Twitter and Reddit, of being racist. But this is the first time where you have significant people within the community talk about it. I'm talking voice actors who voiced for the game directly talking about it, and content creators who never really involved themselves in controversy and who've never spoken about something like this talk about it now. The people protesting this were done with the game, voicing their discontent and saying that they were going to boycott it. But little did they know that this entire controversy, this entire boycott, was going to be catastrophic, but not in the way you'd think. Let's talk about it. But you know how you can avoid catastrophe? Showing up with a ship like this. And you can get exactly that because World of Warships is collaborating
World of Warships, please sponsor me.
yet again with Ars Nova, this time with new content. The cosmetics are back with a vengeance. You can have animated characters show up on your ship as you're doing your battles. This collaboration has a new character, Hyuga, as well as returning ones like Iona and Kunzo. With over 500 ships spread across 10 different factions ever since the game came out in 2015, you'll no doubt find a ship that suits your playstyle. Speaking of playstyles, you can play solo or with teams, including game modes such as co-op. This game's also free and on consoles. The icing on the cake, though, is that if you use the code ARP, you get 5 special containers, 7 days premium account.
That's a lot.
2.5 million credits, and 500 doubloons. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description or the pinned comment. And thank you to Wargaming for sponsoring this video, baby.
Oh yeah.
Genshin Impact has been out for almost 4 years now, and in that time, it has found itself embroiled in racism controversies 3 times now, including this one going on right.
You want me to be honest, chat? I'm eating an apple right now. Like a natural animal. I think they are. I think at the very least, Genshin Impact is xenophobic because they're Chinese. And like they have to cater to the Chinese. And the Chinese are inherently xenophobic. The Eastern culture makes it so that they're xenophobic as fuck.
Now, and the question is, why? Well, you see, Genshin Impact has many regions, with Liyue right here being inspired by China. I mean, they have an actual opera singer called Yunjin that sings in Mandarin Chinese opera. She was made to promote and celebrate Chinese culture.
Xenophobic, but not... Sorry. Xenophobic, but not for the reason Twitter expects? Yeah, 100%.
So it's no secret Liyue is based on China. Then you have Inazuma based on Japan, where the enemies look like samurais, and the goddess of the region, or Archon, is called the Raiden Shogun, right? It's fairly straightforward. The first racism controversy that Hoyoverse was embroiled in was shortly after the game's release in...
Was this because fucking Helicross were black-skinned? Yeah, I remember this. This was pretty fucking stupid. They didn't even fucking... these are the same sort of tourists that didn't understand or even know that Genshin was a Breath of the Wild clone when it started.
2020. One of the first and most common enemies you fight in the game for a very long time are called hilichurls, and this is how they look, right? The controversy stemmed from how their skin is the blackest it can be, and they are seen as the enemy. What made this controversy somewhat significant, though, was when an office tour of the developer of Genshin Impact was published on YouTube, and people saw an employee taking inspiration for the dance the hilichurl does from tribal and indigenous people. This is the dance right here, right? So overall, this happened. However, at the time, the game had generated over $1 billion just in 6 months, and the community was so huge that these complaints honestly, they pretty much got ignored. No one really took them seriously. Now at this point, Genshin had been out for over...
Is that really what's happening there, though? I mean, if it is, I still don't care, but like, damn, that's interesting.
$1 just in 6 months, and the community was so huge that these complaints, honestly, they pretty much got ignored. No one really took them seriously. Now at this point, Genshin had been out for over a year. The Inazuma arc was concluding, and people were looking forward to the next region that came afterwards, which was Sumeru. There was such a content drought that leakers
Sumeru is basically like the Middle East.
were becoming more and more of a problem because people looked forward to new content so much. I would argue one of the biggest leaks in this game's history was this image right here. This was posted on Reddit and then Twitter. And as you can see, this has over 20,000 upvotes on the subreddit r/Genshin Impact leaks. This
is it because of the skin?
Extremely significant. You had 7 characters that no one had ever seen before. The only thing that was shown from Sumeru was nothing, right? This was posted on June 30th, 2022. A few days later, on July 2nd,
it's because of the skin.
People would even see what the region looked like. And there you had every single character releasing for like the next months after Sumeru finally releases. The leaks were getting out of control, but that's not what people were concerned with on Twitter or Reddit. Sumeru was meant to be a region inspired by the Middle East and South Asia, so India, for example. This made Twitter and some Reddit communities lose their absolute minds, calling Hoyoverse racist for not wanting to display the skin colors of the cultures that they were getting inspired.
And you know what the reason why is? Because it's not gonna make money. Hoyoverse is similar to Nijisanji in a way where they're made to pump as much money as they can, especially from their Chinese and Eastern fan bases. Their Chinese, their home fan bases, that's really the only fan base that they care about. Anything that we say, regardless of whether or not it's okay to say it, or if we're right or whatever, or if the concerns that we have is true, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. It's a gacha game. Yeah, exactly. It's a gacha game. It's a gacha game. Their aim with each and single character isn't representation, isn't accuracy to any culture, isn't any of that stuff. Their number one priority, actually, they only have 2 things that they have to keep in mind. One, if it's gonna sell well, and the other one, if it looks good. That's it. That's it. And people, anyone who expects a fucking company to do it, to prioritize or think about other aspects beyond those 2 things, are doing or thinking about things that are very unproductive, because it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Now, I agree with you that I agree with the general sentiment that they're inherently being very xenophobic. They're intentionally picking and choosing who is all these sorts of stuff. They're not representing cultures right. But again, representing cultures is not the aims of these fucking companies. It's what's making them money. So if you are so upset about that, right, to a point that you have the energy to make entire threads on Twitter and organize all these sorts of shit, just stop playing the game. At the end of the day, stop playing the game, because the company doesn't care about you, right? Even if I agree with you, I know for a fact that whatever I say or do will ultimately be unproductive, so why should I do it? Right? Why should I do it? It's a waste of my time. Oh, thank you, Warlord. Just another day of Western Twitter complaining like they are 90% of the revenue, while the actual 90% of the revenue just plays the game. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Again, it's okay, and I might even support you if you want to boycott Genshin Impact. But if you want to boycott Genshin Impact, actually boycott Genshin Impact. Don't do with your half-assed bullshit here by just doing all this stuff of game. What are you doing? What are you doing?
From. And the hashtag Boycott Genshin got created. What I found really funny at the time was that these were leaked characters. These were illegally obtained.
Oh, this was last year. Oh, 2 years ago.
People were messaging Genshin Impact's customer support, complaining on Twitter, complaining on Reddit, calling them racist, when...
You know these people are like 16, 17-year-olds when they think that emailing customer support will do anything. Bro, you think customer support is the one responsible for making art? No, man. Jesus.
The entire foundation of their argument.
Imagine though, right? Imagine your Genshin Impact account got hacked. You lost all your Primo gems, or you had an issue where your payment is not going through. Your Primo gems are not reflecting on your account, but you busted 2,000 grand for this, and customer support isn't like receiving it because they're bombarded by all these fucking 16-year-olds trying to boycott them for whatever reason. Like, imagine though, right? That's insane. Actually insane. Yeah.
Is an image obtained illegally. Like, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Even if content creators and voice actors and just people in the community wanted to talk about it, they couldn't, because that would blacklist them from any collaborations with Hoyoverse in the future. There's one thing they don't like, and it's discussing leaks. But that didn't stop the community from creating a wildfire. Over time, as Genshin Impact would reveal more and more characters in Sumeru, there would always be comments.
This is sex material. I fucking love Candace.
And the replies talking about how they're not dark enough. But that didn't stop a huge amount of people
What the fuck does that even mean? Not dark enough.
Liking and spending money on those designs. And ironically, even though there was an entire boycott movement made on Twitter, when the goddess or art...
I understand your point, but is the Genshin product honestly so weak and not able to stand alone? They can't change one or two things around to reflect the culture they're using? Oh no, yeah, I agree with you. I think they should do that. I think they should do that. But if that one thing that they need to tweak significantly affects their how much people will pay for it, they're not. And unfortunately, one of those aspects that you're talking about is skin color. Unfortunately, a lot of people in East Asia, Japan, China, Korea, they're racist, bro. They see a black skin, they don't want to see it. They don't want to buy it. No. No, they don't. Right? That's just how it is. So, if these people are not going to buy it, and it actually tanks how much a character will make money of, then why should they do it? As a fucking gacha game, as a gacha game company, right? Yeah, they can make some designs that can be more accurate to the culture. Like, they can give, let's say, Natlan characters, like, since they're based off of Mesopotamic, not Mesopotamic America, like ancient North America, like Mexico to Canada and all that sort of shit, and they give them, let's say, Aztec designs. They put fucking Quetzalcoatl related shit in there, like all these sorts of cool, epic, lost civilizations in North America. They can do that, 100% sure. They can put like feathers in there, anything. But skin color, unfortunately, is one of those things that they just don't want to compromise on. That's just how it is. Again, I agree with you, but thinking about this from a like company perspective, I understand why it doesn't make sense. And it's why it's why even if I support the boycott, people are not doing the boycott in a proper way. If you want to boycott, tell people to uninstall the game. That's it. That's a proper boycott. Just uninstall the fucking game. I'm all about boycotts, chat. I'm all about boycotts, especially if I feel passionately about a certain thing. But if you want to boycott, do it properly. No half-assed shit, you know?
Archon of Sumeru released, which is probably the most pale character out of any character in Sumeru, she broke sales records. Yes, this was the highest selling.
And the reason why is simple, chat. It's because she's a lolly. And Chinese and Japanese people, they like lollies. So of course they were gonna run with that. Duh.
Character banner in the history of the game since its release in 2020. More specifically,
like, you're sensing the pattern here, chat, right?
which is one of their main markets, but overall it did very, very well globally too. This was then largely forgotten, right? We moved on to the next region, which was Fontaine, a mix of French and British.
Oh, also, yeah. I mean, she also has an amazing skill. Yeah, and yeah, that too. But come on, the lolly part counts. I mean, there's a reason why Klee is so popular, right?
Culture. I don't know why you'd mix both of those things, but listen, it's your game, buddy. But people from the Sumeru controversy were hoping that the region after Fontaine, which was going to be Natlan, would give them what they wanted, darker skinned characters, because it was a region rumored to be inspired by South American and some African culture.
Oh,
well,
okay. That makes a lot of
from
sense.
This video and the title and what we're talking about, it didn't meet any of their expectations. On July 9th, 2020,
I think these designs all suck, by the way. Mauvika, I don't like her design. She looks super generic as fuck. She doesn't even look creative. Yeah, she's hot, but every character in Genshin Impact is hot. But I don't like her design. But not for the reasons that Twitter has.
before Hoyoverse did their 4.8 version livestream, and then at the end revealed not only more of Natlan's landscape, but all these characters, with Mavuika over here being the goddess or archon of the region. So as you can tell, there's not much of a change since
DNL
Sumeru,
take.
right?
You really gonna argue it? You're really gonna Warlock Warlord? You're really gonna tell me that's an L take? Look, brother. Mauvika or whatever. You really think this is a good design? You think this is a good design? It's boring as fuck, bro. That's basic as fuck. Like, yeah, the hair is cool. But aside from that, come on. Like, it's basic. No, man, this is the god of fire? Is the god of whatever? And she's basically just a biker street whore? Like, come on, man. Come on. You can't give me that shit. Make her look cool. Like, creative, right? Damn. Jesus. Basic is okay sometimes. Not if it's the fucking god of a fire country. Come on, man. Come on. With that take, you're literally saying that Kayla is basic as well, too? Well, Kayla is a blacksmith. This is a fucking god of fire. Come on. Still pulling? I mean, if her skills are good, I'd still pull for her. Bro, it looks amazing. What are you on about? Nah. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with people on that
So
take.
this prompted the same people
Well,
who disliked
let's just agree to disagree, alright?
Sumeru designs to come back on Twitter and Reddit and in the communities they frequent to talk about their dislike and disappointment in the direction Hoyoverse took these characters. You saw tweets like this popping up with the hashtag Boycott HYV, which stands for Hoyoverse, saying, "Look at this bullshit, fix your ass games Hoyoverse," showing examples of dark-skinned characters in Annie games and then comparing them to Hoyoverse's palette. This boycott ended up reaching people outside of the targeted demographic with this tweet right here, where someone ended up sending a message to Genshin Impact's customer support,
I remember this,
complaining about the characters' designs and their skin tone, saying, "Genshin is not real life. Genshin Impact, what kind of response is this when a player..."
How is this racism? Genshin is not real life. Oh, duh. You can't apply real world shit to like fictional.
Submits feedback about the racism and colorism, embarrassing, unprofessional
And
behavior
it's customer service. Like, what the fuck do you want them to say?
company of grown-ups and supposed mature, well-read developers. Hashtag why are they white?
Thank you, Rickx boy. Kiara have blue flames. She is hotter. I think so as well.
Hoyo. They were referencing what the customer service was responding with. Here's what they said. "Dear traveler, thank you for your feedback. Please be kindly reminded that Genshin Impact is a work of fiction and is not related to actual people, events, groups, or organizations. We really do hope for your understanding. Kind regards, Genshin Impact Customer Service Team." This led to a very divided response on Twitter, with some people calling Hoyoverse based for this response and others saying that they were immature and this only made them hate them more. In any case, this got so much attention that the person who tweeted it ended up deleting their account, which is why I'm showing you a screenshot. But this was still nothing compare to what happened next.
Okay.
Valeria Rodriguez, a
One of the
voice
actors?
actress and someone who happens to voice Sucrose from Genshin Impact,
Okay.
the 4-star character, tweeted this out on July 13th, saying,
Oh, yeah, I
could
remember
stay
this.
quiet about this and protect myself, but us folk of color
Chat, I was in China when this happened. I saw this tweet.
don't always need to stay quiet and let others f us over and disrespect us so that we continue to advance at half the pace of our white peers. If you're going to use real world deities, respect them. If you're basing off of real cultures, respect that. I'm fine with things being inspired by various cultures. That's awesome. Representation is dope. But bare minimum, do some research and show some cultural appreciation. Then she goes on to say, Oloran is the supreme.
I think I can, like, look, here's the thing. I think I agree. I agree with this. I agree with this. The reason why is that I can, because I'm a history buff, I appreciate it when I actually see cultural accuracy in games where they say that they're inspired by various cultures, or media that say that they're inspired by various cultures. So yeah, I 100% agree with this.
Do some research and show some cultural appreciation. Then she goes on to say, Oloran is the supreme Yoruba deity. You could find that with a quick Google search even. This is unforgivable. Look
Why
at
didn't
what
just why didn't just they make her make the fire god Quetzalcoatl or something? Like, come, I feel like that would have been the easier answer. Just make her Quetzalcoatl, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Yes, but they're not depictions of historical cultures. Yeah, that's where the what's I call it? That's where the Genshin is not is it's only a work of fiction argument comes in. In general, I agree that you kind of have to do. I think it's cool if you do that, but because Genshin Impact is not necessarily like Earth, for example, they're not like 100%. I don't. There's less of a job for them to be as accurate as possible, in my opinion. Yeah, I still think they should have done it though, just because I like it that way. Just because I want to see like historical references in my cultural game. Inspiration versus authentic. Yeah. Quetzalcoatl, NP Babalo. Yeah, man. That shit was fucking flames. Bro, I remember the Fate movie. Have you guys seen the Fate movie? That shit was fucking fire, bro. That shit was great. I feel like it would have been an easy slam dunk. And look, they like in Fate, like Fate Go, right? I don't know how to pronounce Quetzalcoatl. Bro, she's white. In the Genshin, not the Genshin. In the Fate Go game, she's white. And nobody cares. And you know why nobody cares? Because Fate is not a mainstream game. They have a key target demographic, which is basically just weebs and degenerates of all shapes and sizes. But Genshin Impact is not a small game. It's a mainstream game that you know, you know what I mean.
sick job Smite did with their own interpretation, it's not hard. So here she's referencing Oloran right here, the Yoruba deity.
Oh shit.
On the right, you could see the design.
Kescart, Quetzalcoatl. Oh, it's Quetzalcoatl. Okay, Quetzalcoatl.
From Smite.
Thank
and
you.
Right here is a character called Aurorun in Genshin Impact, part of Natlan's new characters.
This is a new character from Genshin Impact. He looks like what 14-year-olds would draw as their OCs. Please don't steal. Back in the Tumblr era, you know, the type of boy that like, yeah, that everybody
doesn't
wanted to roleplay as.
Resemble him in the slightest, right? She then ends her chain of tweets with
Sorry,
a
the
picture of
NF Go
herself.
is not small, just Eastern focus. I'm not saying that Fate Go is not small. I'm not saying that it's small. Rather, I'm saying that it's not mainstream. Like Fate is far from mainstream, chat. Yeah, it is Eastern focused, 100%. Yeah, but it doesn't have the same reach as Genshin Impact. The thing about Genshin Impact is that it broke to the mainstream in an absolute massive way. That it's actually just impossible to appeal to their core demographic. Because you know the core demographic that Genshin Impact has is just China, right? But in the West, they don't have a core demographic anymore because everyone is spread across a lot. So it's like, yeah, it's mainstream. You're actually telling me that Fate Go is mainstream. In the anime industry context, maybe it's mainstream, but like in the global mainstream, nah, man, nah, it's really not, chat. It's really not. It's mainstream in the anime setting, okay? It is. Like everybody knows about it. But it's not it's far from the same scale as Genshin Impact. Because the thing about Genshin Impact is that you don't have to know, you don't have to be an anime fan to like want to play the game. That's just what it is. It's not that mainstream now. I mean, for obvious reasons, right?
With a book called Congo: The Epic History of a People.
I know more people playing Fate than Genshin, lol. You're really gonna use your own experience to like try and debunk the fact that Genshin is much more popular than Fate? Because I can pull off the numbers right now. Fate Go monthly users. Oh shit, thank you. Oh, this is 2020. Can I get like the monthly? Where do I find the stats? Genshin more global than Fate Go. Yeah, 100%. Fuck. So I can't. It seems like I can't find the stats or that this is outdated. But I feel like it doesn't take like a fucking 200 IQ rocket scientist to identify that Genshin is much more popular, right? Yeah.
To prove that she's not doing this performatively. All right. So it's obvious that this tweet or series of tweets are very angry and emotional. And this was partly because it wasn't just talking about a video game anymore, it was talking about racism in general. This was also very direct, right? This wasn't a subtweet or an indirect tweet. This was calling out Genshin specifically by including this picture of the upcoming character Orun. A voice actor being this direct about Genshin Impact controversy has never really quite happened before. So one could say this was really the ground zero of the massive Twitter drama that followed.
Because I remember other voice artists are also talking about it. Just got here. Was the Kevin drama already covered? Yes.
Though she tweeted again on the same day, "My reaction to you dorks saying you're gonna switch your game to a different language now." And it shows an emoji laughing. "I'm not deleting my tweets either. Seeing the huge response, both hateful and positive, means that I struck a chord. I'm done being silent. It's 2024. We can all do better." Then you had Bill Butt speak up, someone who doesn't voice for Genshin Impact, but who voices for Honkai Star Rail, another game in Holy vs. roster. He's Albert, the beloved host of Honkai Star Rail live streams that showcase the next versions. Choosing not to be as direct as Valeria and saying, "Dark skin is beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise." This was also made on July 13th, the same day Valeria was tweeting. And one could regard it as a subtweet, as an indirect tweet towards what was going on in Genshin Impact. Alejandro Saab, who voiced...
I'm just gonna say this out there for people that are probably making a different impression. I do think they need to add like a different whatchamacallit? Like different characteristics and different like skin color and all that sort of stuff in Genshin Impact. But my reason isn't necessarily because of diversity. It's because it's for artistic reasons, right? Me personally, I think representation is cool, but if you want to represent something, you should do it properly. You can't just represent for the sake of subversion. There has to be a good reason for it. And if the good reason for it is for artistic reasons, like let's say this character with all these elements on his clothes and all that sort of stuff pops off better when he has darker skin tone, then give it a fucking darker skin tone. Because that just looks way better, right? I like representation and all that sort of chat, but I like it when it's done in an authentic way that actually means something, not just for the sake of it. And that's why I'm really sick with Hollywood and like all that sort of stuff, because Hollywood does representation, but it's bare bones, it's shallow, it's not, you know that they did it just to get easy brownie points. That's it. That's it. They're not actually interested. Like fucking what? Oh god. Genshin Impact is starting to look boring, and that's my problem with Genshin Impact, Reiki X Boy. I feel like a lot of the Genshin Impact characters are boring. Like they have so much like artistic elements to them, like design elements. Like there's a lot going on, but there's very few you can understand in the actual design itself. And I think that's the problem with having a game that you only have two priorities in terms of character designing, and if you have too much characters, right? Yeah. And that you have to work with the confines of the setting of the game. Now, Fate Go, for example. Fate Grand Order does not have that problem because Fate Grand Order doesn't have to work within the confines of Teyvat. No, Fate Grand Order works within the confines of the actual world itself. They can make up their own shit and change things up, and they have like entire multiverses to work off of. And that's why, like, despite a lot of these characters having the same feel, you can tell that each of them is unique and they're all pleasing in a lot of ways. That's why Fate has better design than Genshin Impact. Because again, at the end of the day, Genshin Impact kneecapped themselves by having that little scope to work with. But Fate recycles characters. That's exactly why that's exactly why it works. They recycle characters. Right? Fucking Saber? No, man. There's not Saber. Artoria? Nah, bro. There's this Artoria, but then there's an Archer Artoria. There's a Saber Black Artoria. There's a Rider Artoria. No, there's a different sort of Artoria. Like it's really creative. This fucking IP is built to make as much money and make as much art as possible, and that's genius. Genshin Impact doesn't have that, and I think that's why all their design is boring as fuck. It's boring as fuck. Because even if you know that they're all different, or not different, even if you know that they're all like different characters with their own different personalities and all that sort of stuff, you can tell what archetype this person is. You can tell who it's gunning for, in terms of who it's appealing to, rather. And like, it's boring.
This is in 3 different Hoyoverse games in major roles. Quote tweeted one of Valeria's tweets and said, "I didn't know that's who he's based on. Ah, that's bad. You still got time to fix it." Doubling down and tweeting
it gets boring
again
if that's all you see all the time. That's part of the reason, yeah.
YouTuber account, echoing the same statement, but this time saying,
"Oh,
wow,
Sino,
this is bad."
Oh, hi, Sayu.
So at this point, Twitter was on fire, and you had something that had never happened before. Multiple voice actors were, in some way, risking their jobs by speaking out about this so directly. But this was only the beginning. This tweet right here was made saying, "Why aren't Genshin content creators saying anything? They're the voices of the community."
Oh god. Because a lot of Genshin content creators don't give a shit. I think that's the end-all reason. End-all be-all, I think. Oh shit.
Here was made saying, "Why aren't Genshin content creators saying anything? They're the voices of the community. They should speak," garnering quite a bit of attention.
They'd rather not lose the 30 grand a month that Hoyoverse gives to them. In fact, you know what? Hoyoverse, you should give me a lot more money. Actually give me money, please.
This made very positive Genshin Impact creators, people who typically avoid controversy in every way and just focus on the positives, feel pressured to speak. Doro44 is one of them, and he quote tweeted this tweet saying, "Why aren't Genshin content creators speaking?" and then had this to say, "I did on my stream and on my reaction to the trailer. I'm disappointed that there aren't darker skin tone characters in Natlan and the representation is just so bad, especially since Hoyo is pulling from real world regions and cultures. I genuinely had hope for them, and I hope they make changes in time of release." And Doro speaking out pretty much started a chain reaction of other content creators also starting to speak out about it. You had Blap, one of the biggest Genshin Impact content creators around the time it released, able to do a video just playing the story and getting over 1 million views, said, The insane part is like, what else is there to say about Genshin's colorism that hasn't already been said 2 years ago? People were talking about the same issues that
I'm more upset that Genshin Impact banned Hololive than I am with their colorism issue.
were seen in Sumeru's
But that's because I'm a brain-rotted VTuber fan.
cast, and we're instead told to wait for Natlan. Now that we're here, what do you wait for? Tuanto, the Genshin Impact content creator with the most subscribers
Whoa,
on YouTube,
that's a lot.
retweeted 2 tweets that were echoing the same sentiment as the voice actors and content creators that had spoken up. While this was happening, many people were taking the character designs that were already shown and making them black. Like this one, for example,
Who's selling it?
many others. And they were getting many views and a lot of traction on
is
Twitter, with
selling
many
it?
people thinking, man, this should have been the actual design of these characters. But Tectone came in with a bit of a different opinion, saying Genshin Impact will not change. If you're mad, you should quit. The only thing they track/care about
People were throwing Tectone this opinion, but he's right. He's right. I mean, the same opinion. Like I said, yeah, I think they should. I think there should be more like colors, but he's just speaking. He's just spitting facts. Of course, Genshin Impact doesn't care. Be mad at Genshin, not them. Like them.
is money spent and concurrent player base. This has already happened
Tectone is a
before and
fraud
will
though.
happen
Yeah,
again.
I see that a lot, but I don't know what's going on with Tectone. I see a lot of mixed opinions about him, but in this very specific instance, this isn't even an opinion. This is not an opinion. He's just telling it as it is.
Again, side note, I do think it's fair to be upset, but the company doesn't care. And this is where it gets tricky, because it was becoming clear this was a topic with many different opinions.
Okay.
Genshin Impact had made this tweet officially revealing Mualani in her drip marketing. And here's 2 kinds of quote tweets that I want to show you to really make you understand how opinions
Oh,
can
are they gonna say it's racist because she's a surfer and that's like Hawaiian culture or something?
differ.
Well,
Someone
it's not
quote-
even Hawaiian culture. It's like Austronesian. Yeah, it's a whole like historical. Yeah, whatever.
tweeted this drip marketing and said, "Holy Hoyoverse, you bum fucks, how did she get more white?" Accusing them of whitening her up in the drip marketing. And then you had this tweet right here saying, Genshin fans be like, they whitewashed Obama, showing Obama in 2 different scenarios that have different light sources. This one also getting a lot
Wait. What's this guy's name? No, sorry. Is that an underboob I see?
of traction.
Wait. Okay. Underboob. All right.
But what really made this boycott catastrophic, in the sense that it
All right.
didn't work.
What's this guy's name, chat? Chat. What's this character's name? No, not whitewashed Obama. Mualani. Mualini. What's his fucking name? Mualani. Oh, Mualani. Okay. Does she have underboob? Boo! Alright, hold on. Drip marketing. Yeah. I thought she had underboob. Boo! She doesn't have an underboob. Boo! I got misled. Boo!
It won't work, and it will never work. It's this right here. I can just sum it up with this tweet. Look, this is someone participating in the boycott saying, please remember not to fund Hoyoverse anymore.
Just quit.
Feel free to play Queens. Because the sentiment echoed on the boycott communities on Twitter were saying, hey, listen, you can keep playing the game, just don't fund them, don't spend money anymore. And then you see this reply saying, or you could just stop playing the game, because just you playing it pads their numbers and makes investors happy, meaning they still get money. Going free to play won't stop anything. To which this person replies, it is very easy to speak, but nearly impossible to do. I still remember thinking that I wanted to delete Hawkeye Star Rail, but I can't. Why? Because I invested 1,000 top dollars in this.
Oh my god. I feel bad for him. I'm thinking. So, I guess this makes it so that these people have to fight between their political beliefs and their what's that thing where you sunk so much money into it that you can't do anything anymore? Sunk cost fallacy. Okay, yeah, thank you, Kara. Yeah, it's their passion for their politics and sunk cost fallacy. I mean, it's Genshin Impact, bro. It's a Chinese company.
Delete this game.
Oh, actually, you know what? No, it's not even a Chinese. It's not them being Chinese has nothing to do with this. This is also fucking all Western companies out there too, the game companies rather.
Now I have spent so much on it. This right here is.
I would probably kill myself too, honestly, chat. Like fucking $1,000 for a fucking video game? Nah, man. Nah. The most I spent for a fucking video game is the amount that I spent for Honkai Star Rail when I got like super chats basically telling me to top up my shit.
Literally, like, I'm not even kidding. This is why the boycott didn't work and will never work, because the people boycotting it cannot stop playing the game.
Yeah.
They're addicted. They can't do it. And here's the harsh reality.
It's like fucking me saying I hate League of Legends, but I can't stop playing it. Like that's just how it is, man. We fell into the trap, and once we're in the trap, all we can do is bitch about it that we can't do anything. Now, even if I drop it if I am invested into these decisions. I mean, that is true, but then the problem would be if you feel so passionate about, do you really care about a fucking video game not doing proper representation? Is that something that's really worth your energy? Are there actual political topics and political issues that you should be more invested in? For me, that's not, for me as someone that's not into these sorts of things, right? I just feel like there are other issues that are much more, you know, more deserving of your concern, you know? I mean, for example, I mean, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna list off an example, but like, because the one that was in my mind is basically gonna turn the chat right now into an absolute fucking war. But yeah, there are better, or rather worse, things to worry about. Why should a fucking game be one of the things you're worrying about? Oh my god! Oh my god! I just thought of something. Chat, what if this is actually a psyop? A psyop by Fate Go in order to put these whales into their games, because Fate Go actually has proper representation. And that's what they have. Oh my god, oh my god. What if the person that's actually working in the art department is actually a double agent for Fate? For the Nasuverse? Oh my god! And that person has to be a higher up, because if it's just some random artist pushing for this, they're not gonna care. It has to be a higher up whose words hold a lot of weight. That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. I will believe in this rat, and there's nothing you can prove otherwise.
If Hoyoverse had to pick between someone who shows up in their game once a month, spends $100, and then leaves, versus someone who plays the game every single day for hours on end and doesn't spend any dollar, guess who they'll pick if they can keep only one? They'll pick the person who doesn't spend money but plays the game every single day for hours on end.
Yeah, that is true, but player 2 is still important, because free-to-play players ultimately pad their numbers. And you know, and it ultimately means a lot to, like, you know, general, like, money shit.
On end. Why? First off, it pads their numbers and makes the active concurrent player base seem higher. But also, this person's addicted, dude. They have a higher chance of becoming an evangelist, something very valuable to a company that money can't really buy. Which means they'll talk to their friends about it. They'll probably buy merch. They'll go to conventions. They'll participate on social media, etc., etc. And let's be real here. Many people boycotting are also in their teenage years, okay? It's not like they spent a lot of money.
They're fucking 14 to 16-year-olds who scroll too much on Twitter and TikTok and immediately consume all the political shit that they see and don't question it because that's the only thing they see. I also experienced that when I was 16. So it's like, you know, I get it. I get it. I don't really blame them for being like, I don't really blame the minors for being too invested in shit that they don't actually understand. But I do think minors should not be in social media
to begin with. I doubt the real whales who are actually spending thousands of dollars every month, yes, thousands, actually care about this. And this is where this whole boycott is flawed. Additionally, Legal Mindset made this tweet saying, "Something tells me the Hoyoverse boycott will be ineffective." And this is a chart that shows the Genshin Impact player distribution by region. It says, here's a player distribution data by region. In the past 5 years, being 100 has the most players. And as you can see here, the top 5 countries in which there's the most players that play Genshin Impact are
wow. And it's all countries that are xenophobic or racist. Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Russia, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Belarus. Wow. They're all countries that are racist or xenophobic. Wow. But at the same time, I don't think I believe this, because why is China that low? Wait. Yeah, why is China that low? Are we talking about percentage in proportion to their like average population number? Or because if we're talking about sheer numbers, China should 100% be out there. But if we're talking about percentage in proportion to the population, then I can believe this. I think I can agree with this. Yeah. China limits the playtime of kids. Well, yeah, but kids aren't the ones that are spending a shit ton of money on China, on Genshin Impact. And for Genshin Impact, you really need to play like only 1 hour, 1 hour a day or something. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. Why the fuck is Chile there? Why wouldn't it be? Hot anime characters? Why not?
Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Russia, and Taiwan. The United States isn't even here to begin with, and most of the European countries aren't either. In fact, I can't even find South America except for Chile and Costa Rica. The top 10 countries on this list, who also happen to be some of its biggest spenders, associate white skin with cleanliness, beauty, purity, and they also unfortunately don't really have any...
See, Mujin gets it. Mujin gets it. Those demographics are generally people that like whiter skin tones and are xenophobic / racist.
Towards darker
That's just
skin.
what it is.
I don't think it's surprising for me to say that both Japan and South Korea, the biggest player bases in this game by far, would probably never spend money on a darker skin color character. Because don't get it twisted, at the end of the day, this is about money.
Yep.
Something that Hoyoverse is no stranger to at all. Genshin Impact in China alone has made $38 million in June of 2024, and this is during a dead period where there's not a lot of new content. Globally, Genshin Impact made $29 million, and I assure you, when the stats come out for July, it'll show a great number too. But that's weird, because some people were sharing this Imgur album saying this is the Chinese reaction to Natlan characters. Guys, there are allies here.
I think that's misinformation. Well, not necessarily misinformation. I think what they do is that they selectively pick and choose Chinese tweets or Chinese posts that are in support of whatever political cause that they have, and they broadcast it to the wider world to give off the impression that this is the general opinion. Hey, even China thinks that we're in the right. No, you don't. No, they don't. Cherry picking, yeah.
With comments such as, agreed, it is appropriate to have black characters in settings and styles of Africa and Latin America, with bigger comments supporting it too. But here's the thing, this is part of a forum. I don't even know what the forum is, and these are only a few hand-picked comments. The reality is, most of the Chinese community is on Bilibili. Let's see what they have to say there. We don't have political correctness. They can fuck off. I don't like...
I'm sorry. That's just, wow. I'm telling you, man. That's what I said. Xenophobic / racist.
Someone who looks too black. Villagers are...
Oh my god. With that in mind, right? Yeah, we should be satisfied, right? Like, there are more Helicurls than there are characters, so like, there are actually way more black characters in the game than there are white skin characters. Yeah. In fact, the game is filled with overwhelmingly black characters. Yeah.
Black, and there are swarms of them. Why aren't they satisfied? Characters look okay. What's the problem? Why do they need to have dark skin? Black skin are so repulsive to look at. Only slight tan are okay. Now, of course, this doesn't represent the majority of Chinese people on this planet, but the reality is, Hoyoverse would much rather piss off
I think the reality is that a vocal minority has this opinion. A vocal minority has the exact opinion. Everyone else doesn't care.
the global player who accesses Twitter and Reddit, two websites they can't access at home, rather than pissing off people like this. Don't get me wrong, 100,000 signatures is pretty significant, and this would have maybe gotten a certain
Yeah, I
reaction.
think so too. At the end, okay, I said earlier as a joke that it's not, that it's useless. But at the end of the day, if you were able to like have 100K people sign something as insignificant as a video game change for representation in video game, then I think that tells me that people really do feel passionate about it. But again, ultimately fruitless. 100K means nothing versus 6 million. That's not what. That's not the point. That's not the point. The fact that 100K people in Twitter, in social media, no less, felt badly about it. I think, not badly, felt passionately about it is significant. I think, yeah. But again, like what you said, it's ultimately fruitless against like the half billion players in Southeast Asia and East Asia that are or that are playing it.
From a Western developer, but you're dealing with a Chinese corporation here, and a Chinese corporation will only care about either money or pissing off the government. That is it. There's nothing
Based.
else. Zero. And this was proven in one of the worst ways as this was happening, by the way. The
Okay.
salt in the wound
Let me
to
see.
everyone who signed this petition and complained on Twitter happened as they were complaining. On July 18th, not even a few days after the whole boycott movement was beginning to really explode,
Nerfed?
Genshin Impact released a patch for Neuvillette,
Okay.
a character famously known to have a very overpowered ability which lets him 360 and pretty much eliminate anyone in his radius.
Okay.
After 8 months of being out, they release a patch that quote-unquote fixes it and stops him from being able to do this rapidly. The Chinese fanbase lost its mind over
Yeah,
this and threatened.
that shit is fun. Being able to 360 a Kamehameha, that's probably the most fun game design gimmick that MiHoYo has thought of for like 4 years of its existence. Like, that shit's fun. Yeah, why not?
to sue Genshin Impact under the law of Chinese consumer rights. And I kid you not.
Okay.
I kid you not. In under 24 hours, not only did they reverse the patch, but they sent one of the most generous rewards in the game's history,
Full
1,600 Primogems, to apologize.
Oh my god. Oh my god, bro.
While people were still complaining about the skin colors, Hoyoverse had pretty much said, we couldn't care less
Yeah.
unless our Chinese business was in danger. As I told you, either money or the government. That is the only thing that can move a Chinese corporation. And Chinese players knew that very well. Look, people have voiced their opinions. It's their opinion, you know, it's their viewpoint, and of course it's valid. I think one of the main issues I've seen people voice is the fact that their history is quote-unquote being replaced, because now if I type Olorun,
Okay.
which is the Yoruba deity, I start to see the Genshin Impact character, right? Who doesn't look anything like him. And the people complaining are making this out to be a life or death situation, like, oh my god, my culture is being replaced, it's being erased, I cannot support the game anymore. But the thing is, you can't make this out to be a life or death situation if you're addicted to the game and can't stop playing it. You have to commit, because the fact that people
Exactly.
are still
Just fucking commit. You want to boycott? Actually,
playing the game
boycott.
while signing the petition just makes everyone look like absolute clowns, and that's the
MiHoYo has no bloody idea on how to balance games. The thing about games is that you really have to find a proper way to make things fun, but at the same time balanced, right? It's a really tough balancing act. Things that are broken as fuck is absolutely fun. It's way fun even. But things that are balanced makes it so that it's like more streamlined, easier to play. But once people find the optimal way to play around it or to play with it, it gets boring real quick. That's the thing. It's a tough balancing act.
reality. A real boycott is like what happened with Blizzard back in 2019, when they disqualified a player for voicing support for Hong Kong protesters back in 2019. People in retaliation started deleting their Blizzard accounts. Yes, deleting them, not just not playing on them, deleting them in such high numbers that Blizzard did something dirty. They started asking people for their ID to delete your account. They were getting scared. This emboldened the employees to start doing on-site protests on the company grounds. Now, unfortunately, this was stopped short when the Hong Kong protests got stopped short because of the pandemic. But as you can see, this is a real example of a boycott. Not whatever's going on
Yeah, stop working, tank the company's bottom line, and get them concerned.
with
Easy.
Genshin right now. I don't think anything will change. And until something like this happens, nothing will ever change. So my advice to you is, if you truly find this to be a life or death situation for you and your culture, then honestly,
It's not.
I think it's time to move on
It's not. It's really not. It's not.
and go
How
to a
would it
game
be?
that better presents your values. Because Genshin Impact or anything under Hoiverse will not do so. And yeah, that's pretty much the controversy that's been going on the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's a shitty boycott. Nobody cares about it as much as It's very in character for the Genshin community to not know how to boycott a game outside saying to boycott. Yeah, man, it's because they're a bunch of teenagers who can't actually induce change.